Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast, and the football podcast host isn't here. But it's fine, because we've got co-hosts, and, I'm here, so I'm sure we can do it. I think we can do it. I hope we can do it. Yes, we're talking football, we're talking last week's games, this week's games, football news, and everything in between. While I've got you, before we get started, please do consider subscribing if you're not already subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. It's a click of a button and it does mean a lot to us. So please do consider subscribing. Right, that's that out of the way. Let's get hit going. Here we go. This is CookieCast, football podcast.
Recording in progress.
There you go. She knows what it's all about. Recording in progress. This would be the point in time, as it's a football podcast, that I would hand over to the man himself, the leader of the football podcast. Can't do that when he's not here, can we? So I will hold one of the reins, and these two gentlemen, Mr. Matthew Moore and Stuart Woodmansey, will hold the other rein. And we will try our absolute bestest to get through it as best we can.
We at this stage, we cannot promise that we won't end up talking about the National Indoor Hockey Final by the time that we're done, because we have no idea what we're doing.
Well, let's put it this way. They are some large football boots to fill. I thank you. I was up till about 2:30 writing that one. So, can anybody remember where we start? Do we just go straight in with last week's predictions?
I think it starts with, yeah.
So, as he's not here to defend himself, I have a bone to pick with the man that's not here. But that's not strictly true. As a rule, I very rarely, I don't know if you call it blow the own trumpet, big up yourself, all that sort of stuff, because ultimately, at some point in time, you're going to come a cropper and it makes it look even worse if you've been like, oh, I'm fucking great at this. Keep that one in mind for this week's predictions. Starting with Matthew's team taking on Sheffield United. Nottingham Forest went up against Sheffield United. Matthew, why don't you tell us what happened in this game?
Depending on how the rest of this season goes, this is potentially going to be Forest's local derby if Sheffield United stay down. Because if Derby go down, they're about the closest club to Forest, I think. Maybe they're more Stoke. But yeah, so on a Friday night, Forest made the small trip up to Sheffield United, and I'm not being biased here. Stu sent me a screenshot of what Sky said. Dominated the match to come out with a 1-1 draw. They got one penalty. They were given one penalty, which then Brennan Johnson decided to just dolly down the middle, and the keeper just stood there and caught it with a level of contempt that it deserved. They probably should have had a second one, because Keenan Davis was virtually had his shirt removed. But then very much against the run of play, and we always talk about how the old boys come back to bite you. Billy Sharp popped up at the back post to nod it back across the goal into the bottom corner to put Sheffield United 1-0 up, and then he's not here, but it's his favourite Forest player. Ryan Yates turned up 5 minutes into extra time to bullet header into the back of the net to salvage the point for Forest. and everyone could pull their face at them. But everyone started predicting him as their goal scorer now. So decide which way you're going.
So 1-1 draw. Looks a little bit like this. No points for Paul as far as a score prediction goes because he had Sheffield United down to win. Luckily, he clawed it back by predicting Sharp to score a goal. So, point there for Mr. Williams. Obviously, I'm doing this in no particular order, so I'll skip the next person on my list. Matthew, you followed suit, a 2-1 Sheffield United. You followed suit by having Sharp to score, so that's a point for you. That's where your points end for that game. Or obviously you could do like me, who had a heavy Nottingham Forest win down, 2-0 to the Forest. No surprises who I was putting down for those goals. That's right, not the goal scorer. 0 points for me. I don't think I've forgotten anybody. Right, let's move on real quick. Oh, yeah, Stu put a 1-1 draw down, so I got 2 points. Didn't get a goal scorer though, so so yes, Stu gets 2 points for correctly predicting the score. And seeing as we're talking about Stu, maybe Stu should do some of the talking himself and talk about Hull City going up against the Women's Basketball Association, or as they're known in the football world, West Bromwich Albion.
So last week we talked about Hull trouncing an old manager. However, this week an old manager trounced Hull. So the final score was Hull 0, West Bromwich Albion 2, and Mr. Grant, I think Callan Grant, scoring twice, once on 17 minutes. Goes into the half-time break at 1-0 to West Brom. Shots at Avalatze, gives out the big speech about we need to get back into this game. Make sure you don't let a goal in early doors. And then West Brom get a penalty on 48 minutes and essentially effectively ruin the rest of the second half. So it finished, West Brom 2-0 winners with Grant scoring both goals.
So, follow along with me if you will. Everybody had a 1-1 draw. Apart from this man, who had Hull down to win 1-0. So there's that. Luckily for Mr. Williams, he predicted Grant to score for West Brom. So gets himself a point. And that's where the points end for that game. So, them's the breaks, I'm afraid. Speaking of Mr. Williams, his team went up against Luton Town. Middlesbrough versus Luton Town. As he's not here, we will divide his team up amongst us. Who wants the goal scorers? Stu, you can do the goal scorers. Matt, what did Middlesbrough score?
So the score was 2-1 to Middlesbrough.
Stu, the goal scorers were?
Mr. Patrick McNair, our podcast favourite from previous times, and the Ginger Terrier himself, Mr. Duncan Watmore, and then Harry Cornick on 96 minutes stuck in a consolation goal for Luton Town. So, brace yourself for this one. Paul had a 1-1 draw for this. But it's okay, because when you predict Watmore and Cornick to score, you kind of bring it back with 2 points. Stu, luckily for you, you got a 1-0 Middlesbrough win, so that's a point for you.
didn't get the goal scorer or either of the goal scorers, so that's where your scoring ends, I'm afraid. Matt, so close, nearly getting 2 points out of the score, but 3-1 is just a goal too many. Didn't get any of the Middlesbrough goal scorers, but did get the Luton Town goal scorer, so that's 2 points for you. Luckily for me, I did put Middlesbrough down to win, so that's a point, and that's where that ends. So, scores look a little like this. I managed to get a point. Congratulations to me. So far through the week, 1 point. Stuart and Matt are joint second with 3 points. But in honour of him not being here this week, Paul Williams halfway through the week with 4 points. And I say halfway through the week because there was 2 more games. Matthew, your team was playing again. Tell us what happened in this game.
Well, the ongoing epic length of the FA Cup 5th round finally came to a conclusion on Monday, where Forest hosted Huddersfield. It's quite an entertaining game. I thought it was kind of very back and forth. I think Huddersfield showed why they're up in the division, and kind of Forest also kind of showed why they're much improved. But Forest kind of went behind to Lees. Quite an easy header from a corner. It was kind of all kinds of things going on. Then Sam Surridge got his first goal for Forest. He should have had one earlier than that because he was pretty much bang on side by the view of the camera. But finally got his first goal for Forest, tucked it away nicely, and then just to make everyone doubly happy, Ryan Yates. I mean, if he had any more space to put that header away in the game, I mean, goodness me, but yeah, powered another header in to give Forest the win and a tie against Liverpool, which their fans are very confident that next stop is Wembley for them.
Well, there we go. So, Paul and Stu had 1-1 draws. Paul had Forest winning in penalties. Didn't get any of the goal scorers. Stu, neither did you. Matt, you heavily predicted Huddersfield Town to beat Nottingham Forest. But clawed it back by putting Yates to score a goal. I had Forest down to win. So I managed to get a point out of this game. I didn't get either of the goal scorers. And this is where this week of predictions went wrong. If anybody can cast their mind back to last week where I said I'm changing the formula, and this is where it's all going to go wrong, because I put a different Forest goal scorer down and it's all gone to shit. Anywho, it's like we're rubbing salt in the wound with the games this week because we've got another Middlesbrough football game. He's not even here. And apparently another Sheffield United football game, because Sheffield United went up against Middlesbrough mere minutes ago. We had to delay the start of the podcast to make sure that the football was well underway. Who wants the unfortunate task of going through this one?
I mean, I'll quite happily take the goal scorers for a couple of reasons.
I can't imagine what those reasons would be, Stu.
Well, I'll deliver the bad news then.
Go on.
Unfortunately, Sheffield United have run out 4-1 winners against the mighty Borough. I think we were warned. Give him his credit. Paul did warn us that Middlesbrough are not the best away. Yeah.
Yes, we were told. Does everybody have the goal scorers, or would you like me to dish them out?
I've got them. So the 4 Sheffield United goals were scored by Sander Berg on 23 minutes. Billy Sharp makes his second goal and second podcast appearance of the week on 25 minutes. Jack Robinson on 59. And Morgan Gibbs-White on 79 minutes closed out the Sheffield United scoring. The singular goal for Middlesbrough was, I believe, a first goal.
First time ever.
On loan from Arsenal striker Following Balogun.
So, Paul predicted Sheffield United would win this. As Matt pointed out, Paul did suggest that this would be a beating of the Middlesbrough. He did predict Sharp to score, so 2 points for Paul there. Speaking of 2 points, Stu had 2 points. He had Sheffield down to get a goal and Middlesbrough down to get a goal. But other than that, he did predict Sharp and Balogun to score. 2 points for you, sir. Matt, you had Middlesbrough down for a win and none of the goal scorers. You're not alone there, because I also had Middlesbrough down to win and didn't get the goal scorer. So, that half of the week looks a lot like Matt and myself getting 1 point out of the Forest game, and Paul and Stu getting 2 points out of the Middlesbrough game. But when you add them all up, I came last this week. That's hubris, ladies and gentlemen. Hubris. I came last with 2 points. Matt, you came second this week with 4 points. Stu, a whopping 5 points. But nobody could catch him this week with 6 points. Congratulations to our leader, Mr. Paul Williams. Congratulations to you, sir. Checks in the post. Now then, as you gentlemen are co-drivers this week, what do you want to do? Do you want to do the news or the whopping 6-game prediction?
Well, we've been through some results. Do you want to do a little bit of news? I've got about 4 things.
I would love to do some news. I always enjoy a little breaking it up somewhat, and the news is always a good way to do that.
All right. Well, the few things I've written down, and it is we'll start with one. It is just a rumour at this stage, but it is a little closer to home for one of the home teams, if you will. But seeing as Middlesbrough seem to be abundant in right backs, having dished one out to Nottingham Forest already this season, it's now been rumoured that Manchester United are tracking Borough's Isaiah Jones, which, after recent performances, I'm presuming from what Paul said and what we've heard on the podcast so far, that they're only watching him at home. But that felt like quite a compliment to me. The guy who essentially was, I guess, not deemed second choice, but he was behind Spence at one point. Spence then went out on loan. Now he's stepped forward and seems to be putting a shift in for Borough. So I thought that was a bit of a compliment that popped up in the rumours section of the newspaper fodder.
It's quite nice because obviously he's been the butt of a lot of jokes. Kind of whenever Forest are playing, well, bloody hell, I hope the right back at Middlesbrough is good if he's out on loan at Forest. And you're kind of like, yeah, he is actually quite good. So it's quite, it's decent that he's kind of shut some people up kind of thing, because it must be a bit kind of galling to be, that guy got sent out on loan because I'm good enough. And then everyone's like going, how good are you kind of thing, and it's nice that he's getting some recognition, because from the small amount that I saw in the Tottenham game, he looked really talented.
I have to say, like, as the outsider in this season's FA Cup now, having watched both of those games, both like aforementioned right backs put an absolute shift in them games. Particularly, I thought Spence and Jones had cracking games. One of the other things I had was a little bit random, although like kind of not in a fun, good way, I guess. But 22 people were injured as fans fought at a Mexican top flight game between Querétaro and Atlas. The fighting got so bad that the game had to be abandoned in the second half. Fighting was breaking out in the stands, and I guess the equivalent of the Mexican FA was so worried about the repercussions of the reasoning behind the fighting that game took place on Saturday, and they cancelled all of Sunday's fixtures. That is one hell of a fight.
What is the reasoning for this?
No idea. Absolutely no idea. Just
Okay.
decided that Saturday was a particularly good day for a dust up, and went to town. Like, I've seen varying reports through kind of the usual places like BBC and Sky Sports and what have you. But Sky, I believe in particular, were reporting that some of the fans had managed to get into the ground complete with weapons. Like, this was organised, man. That is quite scary in this day and age. But like, I said it and saw it with a kind of a bit of a smile on my face at first, and then was like, Jesus, for them to then write off a full day's worth of fixtures, that's been some dust up. That. What else have I got? I've got a little bit of the Women's Super League, in the sense of Vivian Miedema scored in a 4-2 win for Arsenal over Birmingham to become the first player to reach 100 goal involvements in the WSL. So, of that 100 involvements as listed, she's scored 70 times with 30 assists, which is a pretty good record so far. I know that she was one of the big name signings for Arsenal, and seemingly sort of proven her worth over the time that she's been there now. So it's good to see. And finally, from me, bringing it back round to a little bit more sort of current affairs outside of football. Chelsea fans, again, showing their class. There was a tribute to Ukraine before the Burnley game, and Chelsea fans decided that was an appropriate time to start chanting the name of Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich. I understand he's done a lot for your club. I understand that you know, many of them wouldn't have been sat in the seats they were if it wasn't for him. But Jesus Christ, people, pick your time. Like, that. At last count today, 2 million people have left Ukraine because of what Russia were doing. Many have been killed. And really, you're going to start chanting the name of a guy who's, let's not go too much further into that. But
the problem is, though, we've talked about this over the past year or so with everything that's gone on, and some fans have no class whatsoever. And unfortunately, it seems to be, we're making generalisations here. It is certain clubs, and if someone would have said to me, when people are acknowledging what's going on in Ukraine, which club are probably going to be dicks about it? And I'm like, Millwall will probably be on the list, Chelsea will probably be on the list. You know, and obviously that is pointed because obviously he's decided to sell the club, and of course it's the Ukraine's fault. Or it's Ukraine's fault. No. It you know, like I said, you don't want to go too deep into the weeds with it, but you know, there's a reason. There's a reason why he's doing this. There's a reason why, you know, he wants to get shot of stuff. I mean, speaking of that situation, obviously the Premier League has suspended its broadcasting deal in Russia, so there'll be no Premier League games there. The Scotland-Ukraine playoff match for the World Cup has been postponed But the Wales one is going to carry on ahead. But yeah, those two situations. Yeah.
I'd seen something about the owner of the Jets looking to buy Chelsea.
That was the stuff I'd seen. There was as many as 10 potential buyers had been listed, but the article I read shrouded it in mystery by saying the most likely is to be from the USA, but then shortly after that statement had stuff about the New York Jets. I was like, you're not really providing much mystery there. So yeah, I'd seen that pop up as well.
Yeah.
See, Conor McGregor popped up as well as a potential. I think Man United fan Conor McGregor.
Yeah, but it's fine because if he buys Chelsea, he will apologise to absolutely no one, as we all know. But yeah, that was in a nutshell. That was kind of it, really. It was there wasn't much going on this week, other than the massive dust up in Mexico.
Matt, any news from you?
Just those two that I'd mentioned there, with the suspension of the broadcasting rights to Russia, and the World Cup playoff game being suspended.
Okay, in that case, let's talk football predictions. We have not one, not two, but 6 games to predict this week. It's a busy old time, so let's get amongst it. I'm saying it now, it's always the same. Paul will be able to submit predictions for the games anywhere up to kick-off of the first game of the week. I'm sure I'll be getting something from him in the next day or so. But the games start with Stu's team. Birmingham go up against Hull City. Stu, you will pick last. I've already put my prediction in. Matt, let's talk Birmingham versus Hull.
I have gone for a 2-1 Hull win.
Lovely stuff. And who's scoring those goals?
I've got to go with him. Lyle Taylor scoring for Birmingham.
Okay.
And then KLP and Fours to finally break his duck.
Oh, he's got one.
Has he got one? All right then.
Got
Missed
one.
that one.
I think he almost missed that one, to be fair.
Nah.
I've got Hull City winning 1-0. I've also got KLP to score. Stu?
I've gone the exact opposite. I'm going back to my tactic of predicting the team that Hull are playing to win. So I've gone for Birmingham to win 1-0 with Bakuna to score the winner.
There we go, just like that. First game's done. Mr. Williams' team is taking on Millwall. Previously mentioned Millwall. I've got Middlesbrough coming back from tonight's defeat with a whopping 2-0 victory. I've got Sporrar down to score, and I wrote down Coburn, and then I was like, is he still playing for Middlesbrough? Because I haven't heard his name mentioned in forever. And I started flicking back through the book, and it has been weeks. So then I was like, well, that just reinforces everything. So Coburn to score one of those 2 goals. Stu?
I've got a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
With Afobe to score for Millwall, and he seems to be about due after his suspension and stuff, so I've gone for Crooks to score for Borough.
Matt?
I've gone for a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
I've gone Cooper and Smith for Millwall.
Okay.
And Crooks and Connolly to score for Borough.
Lovely stuff. Your team's up next, going up against Reading. All those people will be tripping on that step on the way up through the stands. I've had to go back to type after having a horrific week. I was like, well, I need to correct this in the only way I know how. Nottingham Forest 2-0. Johnson and Zinkernagel to score those goals. Stu.
I have gone for a Forest 2-0 win. I've got Johnson and Colback.
Matt.
I have gone for a Forest 2-1 win.
Okay.
And I've also gone for Johnson and Davis
Okay.
and Swift to score for Reading.
Who was that, sorry?
Swift for Reading.
Okay, half the week predicted just like that. We're back with Birmingham and Middlesbrough. So he's not here. Again, I've got Middlesbrough just trying to get back in form. So I've got them down to win 2-0. Crooks and Sporar to score. Matt.
I've gone 2-1 to Borough.
Okay.
Taylor to score for Birmingham.
Okay.
And then Sporar and McNair.
Stu.
I've got also Borough to win 2-1. You realise that we've just talked about, Paul would say, like how bad they are away, and we've got 2 Borough away games on this particular podcast, and none of us have predicted them to lose. We're definitely getting told off. So yeah, I've got Middlesbrough to win 2-1. I've got Chong to score for Birmingham, and Watmore and Balogun to continue his now red hot form, seeing as he scored 1 goal so far.
Okay. Your team's up next, Stu. Coventry going up against Hull City. I've rolled out a classic for this one. I've gone just with a little 1-0 win for Hull. The Honeyman. I've been putting KLP down left, right and centre, but I thought I'd bring back the Honeyman. Matt?
You know full well what's happening now.
Oh, I know exactly what's happening here. What's that? He scored a hat-trick. Matt?
I've gone for a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
With Godden to score for Coventry and Honeyman to score for Hull.
Stu?
I've also gone for a 1-1 draw.
Lovely stuff.
I've got Force to score for Hull, and even though it may be a subs bench appearance, Martin Waghorn, ex-Derby scumbag and ex-Hull City player, albeit on loan, will probably score for Coventry. So yeah, we'll go for Waghorn.
Okay. Matt, your team is finishing the week out, going up against the QPR, Queen's Park Rangers. Like I said, I've got to get back to form. I need to get back my winning ways. So it's a 2-0 Forest win. And having scored a goal apiece in the previous game, they're back to score another goal apiece in this game. Johnson and Zinkernagel. Stu.
I've gone for Desmond. Forest 2, QPR 2, with Zinkernagel and Johnson for Forest, and Chair and Willock for QPR.
Matt.
I've also gone for a dual draw.
Okay.
And I've gone Surridge and Garner.
He should have scored last night.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. There's a couple Spencer have absolutely smashed on in as well. And then Dykes and Willock for QPR. Oh yeah, there was some terrible misses. They were the ones where you think, oh, that will come back to bite us there.
That right there, in what can only be described as record time, is 6 games predicted. The upcoming 6 games for this week. Does anybody have anything to end on? Any funny stories for this week at all?
I've got one. I was on the BBC website earlier today doing my research, and Eni Aluko, who is an ex-England striker, is now the sporting director of Angel FC in Los Angeles for their female soccer league. And what she's basically saying is her bosses are as follows: Natalie Portman, Serena Williams, Billie Jean King, Leslie Vonn, the Winter Olympic gold medalist skier and ex-beau of Tiger Woods, Evan Longoria, Jennifer Garner, James Corden. I mean, someone's got to spoil it somewhere, haven't they? Abby Wambach and Mia Hamm. So they're ex-US soccer stars, and then a load of other entrepreneurs, YouTubers, pop stars and things. So it's like a big kind of Hollywood conglomerate that bought this female women's soccer team kind of thing. And she's just talking about the fact that they were all on a Zoom meeting. So basically they were like, all right, yeah, you're going to meet some of the owners, and just obviously like this. But then next thing you know, you've got like Natalie Portman, Eva Longoria, like all these all these kind of Hollywood stars, and she was like, oh, all right, okay, then kind of thing. But is now running this club in Los Angeles. I just thought it was quite a kind of that surreal moment of where all right, yeah, you will have done your research and you will know that these people own that football club, but then actually the moment when you log on, you're accepted into the Zoom meeting, and then you're actually presented with all of them in that situation, kind of thing. And it's like, so I thought that was quite an amusing little story.
So there we go. That is the football podcast. Get well soon, Paul, and we will see you all next week. So there you go. What do you think to that? I think we did all right. We can do it. It's fine. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. While I've got you in, before I let you go, please, like I said at the start, do consider subscribing. Like, share and comment where you can. Just takes a couple of seconds, but it does mean a lot to us. You can also check out our website, thecookiecast.com, grab our social media links, or even click our email button, drop us a line, and let us know how you're getting on. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.